Cousins is a 1989 film directed by Joel Schumacher. It's written by Stephen Metcalfe and is based on Cousine by Jean-Charles Tacchella. I apologise if I've mispronounced that. And we have a cast including Ted Danson, Isabella Rossellini, Sean Young, William Petersen, and various others. Really good performances, well enough written characters. It's not the most interesting narrative. As a concept, it's okay, but the execution's maybe just a little bit slow. Larry is married to Tish, and Maria is married to Tom. And they're at a wedding for Larry's uncle Phil and Maria's mother Edie. So Larry and Maria are now cousins by marriage. But Tish and Tom are, well, they're not there. And we can kind of imagine what they're doing together. So Larry and Maria start spending a lot of time together, which in itself, two couples having simultaneous affairs is interesting. Throwing into the mix that Larry and Maria are now technically related by marriage makes it a little bit awkward. And that's the premise of the film. And of course, there are questions such as who will be with whom by the end of the film? Will people find out? How will people react? And in general, it works well. I don't really have any complaints about it. There's nothing about the narrative that doesn't work well. I just didn't necessarily find it to be the most engaging from start to finish. There were definitely times when it felt a little slow. I feel like it's for the most part character-driven, which is not a problem. There are many great films that are character-driven, but the characters are not necessarily the most interesting. I'm very willing to admit that if it were not Ted Danson, Danson plays Larry, I wouldn't have cared for it as much as I did. I'm absolutely willing to admit that bias. If he was played by somebody else, somebody I maybe wasn't familiar with, I wouldn't have cared for it as much. So the characters aren't strong enough to make it a great film, but it's okay. And I did want to know what would happen. I was curious to find out if people would find out and who would be with whom by the end of the film. So there was enough there to keep me relatively engaged, but it certainly isn't the most fascinating story. But it works well. It's not amazing, but it's not badly done either. And in general, if you're looking for an easy watch with some decent enough characters, a bit of unpredictability, and obviously a great cast, then I'd say check it out. It's a very easy watch, all things considered. And for me, as a one-time watch, I thought Cousins was not too bad. I actually think this is the last Ted Danson feature film that I have to watch, at least as of when I made the list. He might... In fact, I'm going to check. That is correct. To date, this is the last Ted Danson feature film that I have to watch. There is one other that he's done, Mrs. Pilgrim Goes to Hollywood, from 2002 or 2003. I can't find it. I can't find any evidence of it. If anybody knows where I can find it, please feel free to let me know. But other than that, I'm ending Ted Danson's feature films so far with Cousins. Am I ending on a high? It's not a bad film. It's not the best, but it worked well enough. The characters were interesting enough, not so interesting that it became an amazing film, but it was a decent story, a very easy watch, quite a pleasant experience, and if it sounds like it might appeal to you, I'd say check it out. It's meant to be a romantic comedy, and it's not laugh-out-loud funny, but it's not dull either. It's mildly amusing. If it appeals to you, check it out. Cousins may not be amazing, but it's more than watchable, and I'm happy to recommend it.